We're going to have another episode of History Gems. This is Jessica Bordelon, Realtor with Berkshire Hathaway in New Orleans. What does this man right here and his decision and his work have to do with this lovely lady right here? And also with this information right here about when women could actually purchase property after the Fair Credit Reporting Act. In History Gems, I always like to share information that is empowering and uplifting. I want to talk about how we as people throughout time have responded to the circumstances around us. And that is specifically how those three pieces of information are related, those two people and that bill, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So in the case of the first person, that was Jean-Baptiste de Sable. He was a Haitian man who had immigrated as a free person of color during the time of slavery, and immigrated into Louisiana, went up the river, traveled all the way up to the area known today as Chicago, and took ownership of space in a time when there was hardly anybody there. As far as Europeans were concerned, there were more so indigenous Americans, and there were just like a few Europeans around, but not a lot of people. And so there was no major legal barrier to what he decided to do with space. Very important. How are we using space? How are you using space? He took control of that little space of land. He built something there. He built a trading post. He built a business. He built a house. He married someone, an indigenous woman in the area, and built a family with her. They, for 50 years, ran that trading post together and established essentially what we know of today as Chicago. When it comes to the woman that you saw in the video, they didn't say her name in the videos. I was never able to discern that, but she had to lie, and her real estate agent lied on her behalf as well, just for her to get to buy a property. Why did they have to lie? Well, by the time that she purchased that home, which was approximately 70 years ago, as she says in the video, it was technically legal for a bank to tell a woman, an unmarried woman, that she could not purchase a property, that she could not finance the funding to purchase property. This created a major barrier, both business-wise and mortgage-wise and wealth-wise, for women and Black and people of color in the United States, because banks could legally discriminate in that time frame. So that's the reason why she had to lie, but she still chose to do it, right? And she got a real estate agent who was willing to go to bat for her. And what was the lie? They lied and said that she was engaged to be married and that her future husband was the one purchasing the home on her behalf. There was no fiance. She's never been married. In fact, she bought that home and she established wealth for herself at a time when there were barriers in place. So the reason I'm telling you this story is, think about in both of these cases. You have de Sable, who lived in a time frame where he could have very easily been captured and put into slavery. He decided to go to a space where he would be more capable of being free. He built a business there and managed to sustain that for 50 years in that time period. Can you even imagine? In the case of this woman here, making sure that she wanted to buy a home. She's like, I'm going to find a way to get around this and make it happen. They took ownership of their path, and they took ownership of space, and they made it what they wanted it to be. So I want to encourage you, because up until the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it was completely legal to restrict and limit your access to financing, as if you're a woman, right? It was completely legal to discriminate based on race and other factors. Banks could do that. They didn't have any mechanism of regulating the banks and their behaviors with other people. That's not the case anymore. You no longer have to worry about that. So why am I saying this? Because it is so vitally important that you educate yourself on what is available to you. People like de Sable and this woman here in this video, they paved a path, right? They set an example that we can follow, right? They showed us what it looks like to be diligent and determined and to make the most of a situation. So I love being in this industry. I started out in this industry actually 15 years ago. I started out as an assistant to a real estate agent. I did all the property research. I did everything for real estate transactions, understanding the zoning laws, all of this and everything. And then 6 years ago became a licensed real estate agent myself, so that I could independently do this and help you guys, as well as, everyone in my community. I want to see us take advantage of these opportunities. This is why I'm so passionate about this work. I work as a real estate agent because I know how powerful stewardship of space, being able to lead and direct space, how powerful it can be. Imagine the life of the descendants of Disabla. Imagine what this woman was able to accomplish. She's lived such a beautiful, fantastic, and more wealthily empowered, economically empowered life as a result of making this decision. Right now, as it stands, you have access to down payment assistance to get into a home, both single family or multifamily. You can set yourself up for wealth growth. I personally utilized it as well for my first property. I paid $2,700 out of pocket, 2700, honey, 2,700. I bought a multifamily property. I now rent out 2 spaces in the home, and I live in the 3rd. And it has been such just a financial liberation to not have to worry as much anymore about economics. It allowed me to move differently, move more independently, and the people who rent space from me, them also. One of them, in fact, is going to be traveling for the next 2 weeks, and she doesn't have to worry about anything. It just feels so wonderful. It feels so wonderful to know that my household and 2 other households are more comfortable now. So if you're interested in learning how to get started in real estate and why it is such a financial benefit, not only for people like me who bought multifamily, but also for people who buy single family, there are financial benefits. There is just a growth opportunity. It's the reason why there were limits on it for those people in the past who wanted to restrict and limit access. We're not letting that happen. We're not going to go back there. I want you to take advantage of opportunity whenever you are ready for it. So let's talk about it. Let's create a real estate plan. Let's talk about what it is that you envision that you want to do, and let's talk about how to make it happen. It might be 3 months from now. It might be 12 months from now. It might be 24 months from now. But let's talk today so that you can go along the path more comfortably and confidently. As always, this is Jessica Bordelon, Realtor for Louisiana. I am a real estate agent in the state of Louisiana, mostly in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. I work with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services in New Orleans. Talk to you guys soon.